Hello. Hello. My name is Carlton, and you have to excuse me for a brief moment. I just realized that my laptop is, the fan is working in. I know it's a 2011 model, and it overheats sometimes, and it's okay. It's a little on the noisy side. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down because I don't want that playing while I'm trying to talk about what I'm trying to talk about. We're talking about trackballs and mouse and trackball. So this channel is really for, thank you. This channel is really for the tech stuff, okay? And I will put this video on my regular channel because it is very important that people understand why I do what I do, and it may be interesting to them because apparently a lot of people don't know about these three devices here. So way back in the day when computers started, everybody had their own little funky interface on how they're gonna talk to the computer, talk to the computer and tell it to give instructions, blah blah blah. And Xerox, I believe, was the first one to come up with a real functional mouse. Now, the beautiful part about the mouse is most people don't know, older people over 30 years old, they don't know that the little ball that used to be on the bottom of these are gone. Now there's a red light. Unfortunately, I literally just turned this thing off because it was getting noisy. But there's a red light under here, which means it's optical. All of these guys that you look at right now are optical. This one is wired. This one is wired, but it is a trackball. Notice how in the beginning of the video, I was just moving my little finger around. I'm not doing a lot of movement with my wrist. I don't have to do the frog hop of a mouse. The frog hop of a mouse is actually bad for you, and it's bad for your wrist. Over time, you will get carpal tunnel, and you'll start to have wear and tear, and then the doctor is going to have to come over there and open this up and fix it. I never want a doctor to open up my wrist and fix it. I was giving this wrist a long time ago for free when I was born, and I want to protect it as much as I can. People who draw have a tendency to have their fingers get warped in some type of a way. If they draw intensely, their knuckles start to bend and fold for the tools that they have. David Finch is one of them. I saw him. He's got a heavily padded pencil, but you can see his hand is wrapped around, and there's swelling all around where he's basically callousized on his hands, and that's to be expected. But as a normal user or a high-end user of computers, you don't have to have that pain all the time. That's the reason why I use these guys. I've been using one of these since probably 1999-ish. Hence the reason why I got extra balls. These balls have dents in them. And unfortunately, this is from Logitech. Shame on you, Logitech. Logitech used to make the red ball with metal on plastic, but now they do plastic on plastic. So when the two collide, it doesn't bend anymore or get a dent in it. Because when you get a dent in your balls don't feel that great because it's like, every single time you find that dent. And it's amazing how often you find the dent in your balls. So, that's the ball conversation. Free, $25 to $30. Originally priced, this is 8 buttons. This is what I've been using at my desk for a very long time. For 15 years, I've been using this here. An IT person gave it to me. She gave it to me and she said, this is what the people who have carpal tunnel have been using. It's great. It's wireless. It uses 2 batteries. And you can, I don't know if you can see it from that distance. I'm going to bring a little bit closer. But I've actually had so much wear and tear on the body. See that right there? See the little things? It's got like little feet on it, rubber feet. Yeah, I've used this for 15 years, and because of that, the feet have actually come off, and I've had to put E-grips on the bottom of it to make sure that it sticks and doesn't move. Now, This is something that has always been at my desk. Like I said, for 15 years, this trackball has been at my desk. This trackball has been a large conversation for a lot of people. Because when they come over to it and they see it, their first thought is, oh my God, how do you use it? Oh no, I can't use this here. Do you have a regular mouse? I'm like, here you go. But when they see me use it, they're mystified because I just have one hand and there's very little movements because I can just use my index fingers. My index finger and pointing finger to just move around to wherever I want to. It doesn't matter which one I use. I just use those two fingers. And to click, I use my thumb to click. I love that. Same thing over here. This is the one I have at home. I'm going to take this to the office. But this is the one I have at home. And again, index finger. It's all I really need to move things around. Just boop, 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 boop. And then I got a left click button and a right click button. Now this one's special. This is what they started doing recently. Is it has an extra 2 buttons, which is programmable. Whatever. Never use them. This one here also has extra buttons. I've got 1, 2, 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's 8 right over here. This red ball is not an actual thing. It doesn't do anything. It's not a button to push. It's your navigation tool. It's your navigator. So I love this here, and it's very nice and it's very smooth. Now, this video is about shaming Logitech a little bit. Because all that explanation I just did, just a minute ago. Look, this is one of my videos. You're in it for the long haul. I rarely do 5-minute videos. So, kick back, relax, enjoy the show. I went on the web, the interweb, to go and find another one of these. I could not find one. I could not find one because Logitech no longer makes this. They started making them in 2002-ish, and they discontinued it at some point. Originally, when Jane came over to me and she said, hey, they use these here for people that have carpal tunnel. I noticed that you have a Logitech mouse, and I told her I'd use it because, my wrist, it'll go wacky on me if I don't, and I don't like the pain. And she's like, oh, no problem, I can get you one of these things. She gave me one of these things. She said, you know what? When you leave, you take this with you. I'm like, okay. Because, especially back then, I was like, they're going to fire me any day. One of these 3rd months, they're going to come in there and say, you know what, we don't need you. That one we don't need. Tell that one to leave. Get his little box of toys and put them on the side of the street. That's what I was expecting. Every 3 months, I was expecting that. 15 years later, I'm still there. The mouse or trackball dies. And I'm saddened. I go on Amazon. I hunt all over the place. I cannot find one of these here. Everything that's out there, I'm going to reverse this here, is using the thumb to navigate. That is the worst thing you can do. Because if you use your thumb to navigate, you're going to wear out your thumb. If you play video games, you're going to wear out your thumb. So for me to switch to something that is thumb controlled is stupid. It's the worst thing that I could ever do. And then I closed my browser because I knew this was going to happen. The algorithm that Amazon uses, it realizes I was hunting for this here, realized that I looked at this here, realized that I was looking at different trackballs, and they came up with a solution. This. Company I never heard of. Elcom. And this is these guys are weird. They make about 4 different versions of this same thing here. This is the Deft Pro. The Deft Pro trackball. They have another one that's called Huge. And both of those have a Pro version, which is really weird. That's the reason why I said they have 4 versions of this thing. You got to really look at what you're buying. But this is the closest I can get to something that uses the index finger to navigate, index or pointer finger to navigate. And it does kind of switch it because the roller is on the side, but I think I'll be okay with that. I'm an old dog, but I think I can learn that trick. So I'm gonna get this guy open here real quick here. Now when you get this here, I think the way this goes is I think it's a Japanese design, but a Chinese company that makes it. And the word Deft has a meaning. It means to move skillfully or something like that, or a skillful movement. And that's what I care about, because I need a skillful movement. And yep, is that what I think it is? That's exactly what I think it is. It uses one AA battery. This right here, this uses two AA batteries. So we already have an advantage over what I've been using for the longest. Okay, I'm digging this here. So another thing, proprietary wise, I did not bring this home, but this actually has a funky unit that is infrared. It's not Bluetooth, it's infrared. Because remember, this is back in 2002. Bluetooth was still in its white paper state back then. So Logitech, I'm assuming Logitech decided they were going to just go for infrared instead. And it's weird. I really love this here. This actually had like a soft skin going around it. And the skin peeled off. And this has a very cheap plastic going across it. Oh, I didn't see that. This is nice. I didn't see that. So we have one, 2, 3 buttons on the fly. That I like. And then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that a button? I don't know if that's a button. So I see at least 7 buttons here. Oh, the roller is also a button. I think that was... The roller on here was never a button. It was just a roller. That's it. This one here is also a button. Interesting. So the pop out, they put a finger hole in here, which is kind of weird. I don't want to move that too much. They put a finger hole in here to make it easier to pop out. Because I hear that was a lot of people complain about how do you get this out, because when you look at this one here, it does have a little pop out hole. When you look over here, this one has a tiny hole that you can't get your finger in, so you have to literally lift off the top. So, I don't know, this is kind of interesting. Another thing about the Deft Pro that I did look at is you have multiple choices. You can do it wired, or you can do it wireless using Bluetooth. And this is going to be my new trackball. Doesn't feel too bad. The sizes are about the same. So I'm going to try to hook this around a little bit here. Yeah, that feels good. So the placement is off. It's a little bit to the left too much, but it's about the same. I think this is something I can get comfortable with. I like having a good solid... Yeah, it's higher up. There's not a thing there. Okay, so I'm going to use this finger here to right click. I can use my index finger to like kind of stroke upwards to hit the button. I don't know if this is going to be a right click or that's going to be a right click. I can probably program it. And then we got this right here as another click. Some of these clicks I ain't going to use. I don't need 7 or 8 buttons. I really only need about 3 or 4. But I like having that roller. And the difference between the Pro is supposed to be a little bit more precise. At the same time, the Pro has this copper color for the roller. That's the most distinct way to tell the difference between the Pro and the regular. And also the regular has a gray or black ball instead of a red ball. That red ball is really fancy. Yeah, oh, that is fancy compared to Logitech's little red with the black dots. That is the end of this video. I'm going to show some detailed photos at the end because this is my next machine for quite some time. Oh, is that a port? Oh, and I got a port over here so I can just put my Bluetooth receiver away. I like that. Or or transmitter or whatever. It's got 3 buttons on the bottom. It's like the power on, power off button, the find button, the pairing button. I don't know what DPI means. I don't know what and in a mouse perspective, I don't know what DPI means. But I'll be checking this out here. Yeah, this is gonna be my new one for the house. I've already asked our boss to get another mouse for me. I don't know if he's gonna get it or not. Just why I'm taking this one to the office. If he does not get me one of these, then I'll probably buy a second one for myself. Unfortunately, again, shame on you, Logitech, for not keeping up with the times. I would love to use this here. I love this device. This is my favorite device. I cannot use this. It's gonna end up going on the shelf over there. That sucks. Tech gear I used to love. That's the end of this video. Wait. It's not the end of the video. If you are a computer user and you use a desktop or a laptop, don't be afraid to walk away from this piece of crap. This is the worst piece of crap. It's the cheapest thing that they can sell you as a package so that you can use your computer. This is the cheapest that they can go. There are other options out there. If you use a mouse and you're left-handed, did you know that there is a left-hand feature so that you can switch this over to a left-handed person? That's the reason it looks like this. It's universal. When I train people and I notice they're left-handed, I tell them all the time, hey, did you know that you could switch to left? And they're like, what? I had to learn how to use it the wrong way this entire time. Yeah. It's your body. It's your wrist. It's your hand. It's your thumb. It's your fingers. You don't have to use what they gave you. I had to turn around and get the Deft Pro and take it to work. After a few minutes, maybe up to an hour of me using that trackball, I realized that it was much better than any Logitech that I had ever. For the most part, once my mouse cursor was on the screen, it would just take one finger stroke for me to get from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen. The bottom of the Deft Pro has sensitivity buttons. I still don't know what DPI means, but there was a power on, an H and an L setting. The H and L is high and low, so if you were doing more precise stuff, you could have it on a higher setting, but unfortunately having it on a higher setting for more sensitivity does make the battery drain more. The simple fact that it has one battery to do everything is absolutely amazing because you're automatically saving the planet by using less power. Another thing, and probably the most important thing, was it's triple connected. It can be wireless with Bluetooth. I believe it actually has infrared too. And you saw that it actually had the transmitter thing that you can just plug into a USB port. But probably, and there's 2 different ways to do it. Bluetooth, infrared. 2 different ways. 2.4 gigahertz infrared. So it's also wired. This example will never happen in real life because I'm never working for my job at 5 o'clock in the morning. No, at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, or 4 o'clock in the morning, or even 5 o'clock in the morning. It's never happened in real life. This is just a scenario. But if I was working on something and I'm clicking away, I'm processing something, and then all of a sudden the battery dies because I've been working for hours and hours and hours nonstop. If the battery dies, I can get the wired cable, plug it into the trackball, and continue my work. I do not have to leave the house, office, or wherever I'm working to go to the store to get more batteries. That's beautiful. I like this trackball so much. I am 95% sure that I'm going to order a second one. I might give the huge a shot because it's supposed to be a bigger machine. And it's supposed to, I can't remember what else it has, but it's supposed to be bigger in your hand. And the button placement is a little bit slightly different. And what I'll do is I'll analyze what I'm doing at home with one and what I'm doing at work with the other. Whichever one feels the best, I'll put it at work because that's where I want the least amount of movement. I want to just basically make everything as smooth as possible, not so smooth that I fall asleep at my desk and drool into the keyboard. It's okay if I did. Keyboards are cheap. I was going to say this at the end of the last video, but I didn't, and I want to make sure that I want everyone to understand this here. Saving your wrist is actually very, very important. That's number one. Number two, if you are a person who works in the office, everyone has been talking about reasonable accommodation. It is not unreasonable to want a special mouse. Some people have special chairs that they'll spend a few $100s on, because it's your back. Some people will go like, oh, I have IBS. I have to use the bathroom 15 times a day, so I need to be closer to the bathroom. And while you're at it, I also need to only come into the office when I need to, or 2 times a week at a max. Sometimes it'll be 1 time a week. There are people that have done that for bigger companies. But, that's never going to work in my office. Never going to work. No. But for the most part, reasonable accommodation is, your employer should buy a freaking mouse for you. I'm just saying. I'm not going to wait because as I waited a week, my wrist was already starting to just, horrible. It's like, I can take this up with some KT tape, act like I'm an athlete or something. This thing hurts. I only got 1, 2, but 1 on that arm. Later.